this is Rob Weiser from artofim.com, and I have a very special guest today. I am in Zambales, Philippines, on the other side of the world from where many of you are from, and I've tracked down the elusive marketing legend, Willie Crawford.
Hi, folks. How you doing?
It's a pleasure to meet you in person, man. It was not easy getting here.
No,
but
well, I'm not good at giving directions.
No, and there are no street signs either. But I managed to track the man down here in a province in the Philippines to pick his brain a little bit about internet marketing and about how this guy has managed to build up really a virtual empire, an incredible multi-million-dollar business, and he does it from wherever he feels like being in that given week. You know, right now we're in the Philippines, and you're a world traveler.
I do have trips planned to Hawaii, to Australia, to Thailand, another trip planned to the Philippines since I'm looking at maybe buying a condo in Manila. So I like having dual homes and being able to go wherever I feel like going. I spent 20 years in the Air Force, and I remember getting up in the morning, turning on the television and on the news. I knew that something bad was happening someplace. I'd probably be there by sundown. So now, to me, life is about doing what I want, where I want, when I want, you know, and being happy. And I don't work with people I don't like because I don't have to anymore. Yeah, so I'm hanging out on the beach in the Philippines.
Yeah, man. Get a shot of it. This is paradise, man. A low-cost paradise.
It is.
Now, Willie, your specialty, from what I understand, is JV broker training. You actually coach people on how to become JV brokers, which means they become joint venture brokers who put together deals and promote deals. Can you sort of explain, how do you define a JV broker?
Well, a JV broker is just a middleman. I mean, to me, a joint venture is just one or more parties working together, but in internet marketing, we usually mean a product launch. And so the broker is somebody who goes out, recruits an army of affiliates, and they promote their person's product. And, you know, when we really look at internet marketing, to me, it's fairly easy to create a product. I mean, you interview me and you'll have a product. But to sell that product takes a few more connections, takes a little more know-how on how to find those people with a large list, those centers of influence, and actually get them on board to promote it. So I teach people how to do that. It's partly just meticulously tracking down people, but there's a lot of art and science to it too.
And I recently hired one of your former students.
Right.
Yeah, because I want to take my business to the next level. And what I've come to realize is that I've created a lot of products and I've sold a lot of copies, but in order to go from, well, you know, let's say 6 figures a year to something much greater, I can't do it on my own. I can't be on Skype all day long recruiting partners. So I've brought in this middleman, as you say, who you personally trained. And I'm really excited to work with this guy.
And if he does exactly what I taught him to do, he'll bring you a whole army of affiliates, and you'll make, you know, high 6 figures, 7 figures when you launch. You know, it really is about building relationships, and so while we all look for shortcuts, you know, we look for, okay, how do I get 1,000 people on board? It's not really about getting 1,000 people on board. It's about getting hundreds on board who actually do something. You know, you can go out and recruit 10,000 people, and if only 2% actually do something, you've wasted all that time recruiting those other people. You just get frustrated. And I'm sure if you've done many launches, you see that most people in internet marketing, they overcommit, and they say, yeah, I'll promote, and then when the day comes around to it, they don't. They make excuses or whatever, or just forget, or they're just dreamers instead of doers. And so to actually get somebody who is going to follow through is a big part of it. And a joint venture broker is paid based on the results they produce. So I teach my students to not only recruit people, but to get them to follow through. Which, because if we just recruit so much people and his pay is based on commission, he's not going to make any commission. They don't make any sales. So I teach them how to annoy the heck out of people too, make them follow through.
Now, for somebody who's new to internet marketing and wants to basically make a living as quickly as possible, which is a lot of people on like the Warrior Forum, for example, they just want to figure out how to make money online. Do you think that becoming a JV broker is a way for a person to make a full-time living on the internet, or is that something that is that a career path you would sort of transition into once you've already got a solid career as an internet marketer?
It's actually easier than affiliate marketing because you don't need a list, you don't need to sell anything other than other people on selling the product. You know, so if you're good and you're meticulous and you can follow instructions, you know, I could tell you go to the search engines, find whoever has the top 100 positions for certain keywords, reach out to those people and ask them to promote the product. A certain percentage are going to say no, but a lot are going to say yes, because even if those people have the top position in the search engines, most of them still are making a lot of sales. You know, you could have guys in #1 not making a lot of sales if their sales page doesn't convert or whatever. So they're getting the traffic but not making the money, and if you just reach out to them the right way, you'll get them on board. So it is something that a beginner can do, you know, with the right training.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Do you have any courses coming up or any events scheduled?
I do mostly my home study course now. I did 2 live workshops at $10,000 per person, 5 days, 40 hours, very, very, very intense. And then I noticed that I pushed those people out into the world, but without too much follow-up with some of them, and they still needed to follow up. It's really total immersion and teach them how to do it, but then actually working with them hand in hand until they've done it a couple times. That, you know, it's like I'm a black belt in karate, so yeah, I did the same punch 50,000 times, you know, the same kick, and it becomes reflex. You know, you can see it on the tape, you can have somebody explain it to you, but until you actually do it, it doesn't really sink in. And I find that brokering joint ventures or launching products and all those things still require doing a repetition. So my training now is a home study course where they watch the recorded training, and then I hold their hand for a full year. So, and because I like my freedom and hanging out on the beach and watching the pretty girls walk by and the birds and the fruit and all this other stuff, you know, I value my time, and so I take on a few people, but as students, I train them, but I don't do live training that much anymore. The next time I do a live workshop, it'll probably be about $20,000, which will be a bargain, because my students typically charge 10% commission. So one of my students helps you with a $300,000 launch. They made 30 grand. You know, they do a $2 million launch. They made $200,000. You know, I don't know how long it'll take the average person to do that. They may work on the launch for 2 months, maybe, but 200 grand. That's nothing to sneeze at.
It sounds like an awesome way for people to get involved, making money online, and not having to create products. Some people, you know, I'm a product creator myself. I like to create products, but a lot of people just don't have that ability or don't really want to do it. But they want to make money online.
You have to like talking to people. You know, a lot of internet marketers like internet marketing because they like to hide behind the computer screen. You know? But to be a joint venture broker, you've got to reach out to somebody and say, hey, can I get you to look at my client's product? You've got to say it in the right way, and you've got to expect a lot of them to say no, and to not take that personally and to go back. You know, in fact, you use that 4-letter word on them, next, and you just keep at them, and a certain percentage are going to say no, and part of it is making sure your client's product's really good so they can see the value, because the reality is that most internet marketers aren't making a lot of money, and the reason they aren't making a lot of money is because they're not selling what the market wants. And so if a joint venture broker has a product the market's going to go crazy over, then it's just a matter of getting the marketers, the JV partners, to slow down long enough to actually look at it. You know, I've been in network marketing, I've been in all kinds of sales where the hardest part was just get somebody to really look at it. You know, they get bombarded with messages so much all day long that if they just stop and look at your product, they'd go, hey, my list will love this. So the hard part is just getting to slow down long enough to really look at it. And that's the JV broker's job, is just to have the trust and to be able to say in the right way, this is a really good product, your list is going to love, you're going to make a lot of sales. And I trained them how to do that. And I trained them to be very persistent, too. I mean, I teach my guys to use Skype and Facebook and Twitter and email and direct mail and phone calls and friends of friends or whatever it takes to get to somebody, to get them to just look at the product. You know, I teach my guys, if you're at a conference and you can't get the guy's attention, but he's got a fiance with him, have his fiance say to him late at night, hey, I was looking at this, I sort of liked it, what do you think about it, you know? He's not going to insult her, he's going to look at the product then. You know? So you do whatever you need to get the guy to look at the product, but the hard part is just getting them to slow down long enough to really look at the product.
I see. And as far as making money online in general, one thing I was talking to you about earlier, you were giving me a little bit of mentoring, because with me, you know, I'm one of those $47 ebook guys. I've sold a ton of copies of my ebooks, but it's not making me rich, you know, and I want to get rich. So there's a sort of mental hurdle that I've had to get past.
Raise your prices.
You know what? I've raised my prices, exactly. Now, in the niche that I've been in until now, it's kind of hard to justify a $3,000 course. But I guess really, if I think about it, I could do it if I
positioning. That's saying my stuff works so well, it's worth it. It really is about showing the value. You know, I charge $50,000 to small business owners for consulting. I can show them a page on my site where that's the fee I charge, and they apply for me to do consulting with them. Because those small business owners are people who mostly already making a couple $1 million a year or they're close to it, and they just want to go to the next level, and they see the value, you know. And so when I tell them my price, all they say is, well, can I spread out the payments? But they'll do it. And so, but the secret is, if you can deliver the value, then people don't mind paying the price. I mean, if you say my $47, instead of, say you took that same information that you sold for $47, and you absolutely assure them they follow it closely, they'd make $100,000 from it. They should be willing to pay $1,000 for it, or a lot more than $47 if it's going to deliver. So it's really just showing them the value, and that's the mindset. It's also acknowledging that like you and I, we both hang on like the Willie Crawford, for example, and I have nothing against those people. I spent half my life there. I've got over 10,000 posts. I grew up very poor myself, so I understand being poor. You've got a lot of people from third world countries who can't afford a lot, but not everybody's your customer. So you can say, well, I'm going to sell as many copies and help as many people as I can, or you can say, I like helping people, but I won't make a lot of money if I just focus on that. So I'm going to focus on selling a $5,000 product or a $10,000 product, which is what I do as a mentor to joint venture brokers. It's like, I know the majority of the marketplace doesn't feel they can afford my product, my joint venture broker training at $10,000. That's what it costs, and I don't change my price. Not everybody can afford medical school. Medical schools don't lower the price. They have a waiting list of people trying to get into medical school. So there are enough people in the marketplace, if the product is in demand. People want to be doctors for the label and because of the income. So there's always going to be a waiting list of people trying to get into good medical schools, and they just keep raising their prices. So, and I face the same thing with my joint venture brokering services. Actually, I'd say no to 95% of people who approach me about brokering a joint venture. But I'm very selective because I've positioned in the market as like the top broker or one of the top brokers, so I can charge more. But then it comes back to delivering. The first question that I get, the first question my students get is, well, how many joint ventures have you brokered and what were the results? That's the first question they're going to get because people are interested in results. If I can deliver the results, my students can deliver the results, but people don't mind paying for those. And that's why I work with my students now for a full year, because they can say, well, I've only done one or two, or, but I'm working with Willie, and he's looking over my shoulder everything I do, and I quite literally, let me look at your launch plan, show me the copy, and I'll read over a client's copy, their client's copy, looking for disconnects, whether it's colors or something that's unbelievable in the copy or whatever, because I've seen enough things that didn't work, spot glitches, and so some people, $10,000 is a lot of money to pay for training, so I feel obligated to step them through a couple of launches and where they're comfortable with it, and then they don't need me, they don't have to hang on to me any longer, but they need to have done it to be proficient at it. And at that point, they're worth 10%. They can do if you can help a client who's struggling to do $1 million launch in internet marketing, that person's going to spend half the commissions probably. So they're left with $500,000. They're going to spend probably 10% of them fulfillment, maybe. They're down to $400,000. They paid the broker $100,000. They're down to $300,000, and they've got other overheads. So they're probably left with about $200,000 with $1 million launch. But still, the joint venture broker, if they help to make that possible, it's worth it. Because if you do $1 million launch on a $1,000 product, you've sold 1,000 copies of a $1,000 product. But as you understand, we've also built a list of 1,000 people willing to spend $1,000 on their business. And that list is worth a lot more than that, because you can go back to those people, they'll spend money on their business. And those people aren't, they don't expect miracles. If they spend $1,000, $5,000 on a product, they expect often fewer results than somebody who spent $10 on a product. They know if I get this one real gem out of this product that I put to use, it's going to make me 10 times or 100 times what I spent on it. So they don't expect miracles, but at the same time, they'll use the product, so they're less likely to refund. So that's why I actually, when I sell affiliate products, I focus on bigger ticket products. I like products in the $497 to $10,000 range because I know I can get somebody to pay $10,000 for an affiliate product, and I sell one affiliate product for $15,000. Those people aren't going to refund. They're going to use the product.
Those are people who are committed, obviously, to really doing this. It's the people who are buying the $27 ebooks that are always refunding after 5 minutes, it seems, because there's no sense of real commitment, you know.
Well, they're saying, I hope this is it. I've tried a dozen other things, never followed through on any of them to see if it even worked, but this one sounds really good in the copy, so I hope it works. I hope this is it. And the reality is that most of them aren't even going to finish. You know, it's like, I could sell a DVD set, you know, for $9.97, and most people who buy it won't even make it through the entire DVD set before they go to something else.
Yeah.
So it's follow through. Most of the products I've seen in the internet marketing space work. You know, there's some garbage out there, but most work. But most people won't follow through. So, you know, we can't do anything about that. But it's mindset.
It's also confidence, because you have confidence in yourself to say, you know what, I am worth this money. I don't budge on my price. I don't lower my prices. This is it.
No.
And you know, I was talking to you last week on Skype, and you were saying, yeah, here I am in Zambales, Philippines. Yeah. I'm working on a laptop. On a USB wireless card plugged in, you know, don't have a proper internet line, fading in and out. And you said to me, yeah, well, I can meet you next week, Rob, but it can't be Wednesday morning because I'm going to make $50,000 in this webinar that I'm doing. And, which is mind-blowing, you know? But that's confidence, though, to be able to say, you know what, I'm going to try, you know, I'm going to do this webinar, I'm going to make 50 grand, and then move on to the next.
And that webinar was based on historical averages. I knew that for each person I got on the webinar, certain ones would take certain actions, and each one that took action, that action that I was wanting, was worth $500. So I just needed to get 100 people to take that action, and I would have made 50 grand. And I'm fairly close to it. For a 1 hour webinar, I didn't even stay on the entire webinar because my connection was fading out. I introduced the person that was on the webinar, and I dropped off, and he said, you know, thank you, Willie. And that guy was probably making about $20 million a year.
Really? Wow.
Built me up, you know, said all kinds of things about his good friend Willie, you know, so I actually grabbed portions of the webinar, the audio, to use as testimonials on my site.
Yeah.
But the confidence actually is knowing that the product's worth it, which means knowing it delivers results, you know. If you do SEO and you can get your client, you know, an extra $1 million in sales, what should be willing to pay, I don't know, thousands of dollars a month for that, right?
Yeah.
And if they don't, then somebody else will. Their competitors will, you know? Yeah.
I've actually found in testing some of my products that if I charge 47 versus 97, the 97 converts better. There's more perceived value.
There is.
And now if you're selling a $5,000 course, that's going to intrigue people a lot more than a course that costs $40 a month. You know, there's more.
You use push-away selling, you know, make them qualify. As me teaching someone joint venture program, realistically, I can only physically work with so many people, but I haven't reached that limit yet. But my push-away is, I don't want to work with you unless you're the type of person who follow through and can follow instructions and are committed. So even there, I'm pushing away, and I'm sure I'll soon reach my capacity, and then I'll send other people and have a waiting list. So, you know, and I used to offer the same course at about $3 grand, and it never sold out there. Push it up to 10 grand. It's more exclusive. It's harder to get to, and but it's also my time, which is worth that much to me.
Yeah.
I'd rather hang out on the beach or play with my grandkids or my nieces and nephews or hang out with celebrities someplace. You know.
All right. Well, you're a busy guy, and I want to let you get back to it. Any parting words of wisdom for all the folks out there who are trying to find their niche and trying to find their way to break through and make some serious cash online?
It's almost a spiritual thing.
Yeah.
It's knowing that we live in a limitless universe. I mean, you know, I used to go out on boats and I'd look down in the water and I'd see a school of halibut or fish, and I'd see like tens of thousands of millions of fish. I'm like, wow, this universe is limitless, you know. In Alaska, I look out across the frozen tundra or the wilderness, and I see herds of like 60,000 caribou. I mean, there was one herd that had like 60,000 caribou, and I'm like, and I just look at a mountain covered with blueberries or dandelions, I see like millions of plants, you know. So there's more than enough of everything, including money, to go around, and so it's about getting over your fear that you won't get enough, because that shifts how you react to things, you know. I actually don't try to force things anymore, you know. That takes a lot of doing, you know, especially if you need the money to say, well, this has got to work, but to do what you need to do and then just detach from the results, and it sort of flows to you. And even me saying, okay, I'm going to charge $10,000 for this course, I could back down and say, well, okay, I'll let you in the back door at a lower price. I don't do that. If somebody comes to me who really doesn't have the money up front, I may say you can pay me later, but they want to pay me because my training's worth that, my time's worth that. But I can't approach it from, gee, I'm not making enough sales fast enough, so let me drop my price. I know what it's worth, and I have to let it happen. And that's, it is detaching from the results. And because of that, actually it's probably not even quantum physics or anything like that. It's more, you set up a sequence of things that just fall in place. People can sense that what you're doing works. They can sense that you're sincere. They can sense a lot of other things, and that makes them want to be your customers. People who get into the law of attraction will say, well, you're attracting it to you. People can read your vibes, they can read your body language, they can read the words that you put in your email copy that show that you aren't certain about the product. And they pick up on that. They pick up on those subtle signals. So it's not being afraid to fail too, because I study multi-millionaires, billionaires. Most of them had more failures than successes, but the successes just overshadowed the failures. My friend Bill Bartman. Bill made billions, became a billionaire, and then he lost most of it, and then he went back up again, And Donald Trump lost fortune, but they came back, so they aren't afraid to take major chances. And if you're starting a business in internet marketing, you're saying, I want to be an entrepreneur, I don't want to work for somebody else, I want to run my own business. Entrepreneurs are risk takers by definition. The average person wants to work for somebody else where they feel like they have a paycheck coming in. You don't know that all your customers won't leave today, and that tomorrow there's no guarantee you'll have customers or a paycheck. So you're taking that risk, but because that you get paid more, but you are taking risk. And I'm not afraid of risk. So I guess if I had a parting thought there, is don't be afraid of risk or failure. Most failures won't kill you. At worst, your wife will just say, I told you so. And you start over.
Hey, Willie, man, thanks.
Thanks.
Pleasure to meet you, bro, all right?
Thank you.